my sword. And you have my bow.
And my axe.
And a gun.
The meme that Lord of the Rings has no remix, the Lord of the Rings needs no remix, has never been more relevant than now. And despite the Rings of Power not trying to remake what the movies showed, the latest cast panel in San Diego showed to be nothing less of what we suspected.
Don't do this to me.
After the announcement of the new Amazon TV show, fans everywhere felt a sharp cold shiver run through their spine. They feared what was coming, and after the first teaser trailer was revealed, all hell broke loose. Every announcement, teaser, and trailer has been slammed with a staggering like to dislike ratio, with the February teaser coming out with a whooping 1.8 million dislikes. But of course the creators of the show can't see this because YouTube disabled that feature. Lucky for them, that's a thing. But why are fans so angry about this? Before I carry on any further, let me set up a scale. When it comes to Tolkien, you got people who never seen a movie and this is gonna be their first experience. Lord have mercy. You got people who've seen the movies, you got people who've seen the movies and read some of the lore, which I'm guessing is where I'm standing. You got what they're now called super fans, that I'm guessing are people who read the book several times and can quote it by memory. And then you got Tolkien himself. The higher up you go on that ladder, the less likely you will accept or like any form of adaptation of the books. But most fans can agree that despite the original trilogy not being the most faithful, it's without a doubt a cinematic masterpiece. They don't stick to the books 100%, but that is okay, because doing so will increase the runtime of an already very long movie by a significant amount. And even Peter Jackson said,
the story is a great story, the characters are great, but it's unfilmable, and it is unfilmable. If you were to just shoot the book page by page, scene by scene, it would just be a mess.
And I rewatched the movies before making this video, and I can't tell you how good they still look. They were done 21 years ago and they still look amazing. Iconic scenes like crossing the bridge of Casa Doom or Boromir dying are amazing. I can watch that 10 times and I will still scream, at the top of my fucking lungs. Now, when it comes to the latest show adaptation, the first thing that caused a ruckus was the time where this story is located. According to the showrunners, Rings of Power takes place during the second age of Middle-earth, thousands of years before the movies, and when doing research to literally shit on every part of the trailer, although honestly I could have done it without doing any research, I found that the story that these clowns are trying to portray is actually not that developed. So any normal person would say, well, if there's not much written about it, how can you make an adaptation, right? That kind of makes it hard. But these creative geniuses with little experience under the belts decided to fill up the blanks, because of course we can fill up the work of someone who basically dedicated their life to this.
You did not go around editing Tolkien.
And that's plastered all over the initial looks of the show, with a strong female lead with important roles, big diversity cast never seen before, and big representation of modern struggles. But we don't want that. We want Lord of the Rings.
Tolkien's famous for disliking allegory.
We want what Tolkien wrote, not you fucks. The most egregious acts being done in modern cinema and TV, and you can tell I'm upset because I'm using big words, is that we don't want to have real world problems being reminded to us. We want to be entertained. We want fantasy. We don't need an obligatory strong colored female in an important place fighting the power of the patriarchy. No, fuck that. We want Middle Earth. We want elves and dwarves fighting alongside men for the freedom of their lands against a big, powerful enemy. We want strong characters that are courageous or skilled and make a stand. We don't care what goes on their genitals or what do they fancy. Because even though the rights of the timeline that Amazon bought are from an age not fully described, the rest is very much described. And just like the Halo creators saying that they didn't play any of the games, not abiding to Tolkien's work without a doubt will make your show fail.
You did not go around editing Tolkien.
Firing your Tolkien expert for not agreeing with you and having that go very public would also add to that. And they paid for 5 seasons. This cost $1 billion.
1 billion, gajillion, fifillion.
Now, touching back on the San Diego Comic-Con, you can tell that some of the actors are not really sure where they are or what's being talked about.
How do you perceive the character without telling us who he is?
All you can do as an actor, I suppose, is go to what's in front of you. All I can do is play the moment, play the moment, play the moment.
You can see it on Stephen Colbert's face, and that they have very particular things they are bringing into the portraying of their characters.
Into her inner lioness, and I, as an activist.
What did she say?
And I, as an activist.
Tolkien himself
was horrified at modern analogies being placed on his work.
Tolkien disliked analogies being made from the war. He did not accept real-world problems being on Middle-earth, that being the Nazi regimes during his time or modern-day social or racial struggles. She was a woman of great beauty, smaller than were most women of that land, with bright eyes. Called Muriel, the queen, fairer than silver or ivory or pearls.
You know, the state of the world being what it is, there was a lot in my mind, a lot in my heart, and Miriel for me was sort of the place to put all of my thoughts.
Tolkien's famous for disliking allegory.
I have a question for the showrunners. With such a wide range of inclusivity in your characters, will there be any with physical disabilities as a proving point for that shows can include more actors with disabilities?
In fact, one of our lead characters, who is very mysterious, is partially deaf. Yes, there will, and yes, there are.
Fuck! But my biggest upset is this right here.
Disa, the first female dwarf that we have ever seen on any screen. The first female dwarf that we have ever seen in the works of Tolkien. And I have the honor to host that revolutionary moment. She is a necessity in we get to see the dwarven culture for the first time, you know. Khazad-dûm is alive and in its prime. And for any great success story of any world or race, there are females, and here I am.
Sophia Noved previously acted in a children's show called Swashbuckle. It's a children's show. She was Captain Hey-Ho. I feel sad. Just to make a slight comparison, the actor who played Gimli, John Rhys Davies, has been acting since 1964 before taking on the role. Moving on.
Ismail, you play a Sylvan elf, okay? Nandor or Avari?
Don't do this to me.
Oh man, it took me 5 minutes to figure out what they were. If you're making a role in a huge project like this, you can at least investigate anything. If there's nothing written on the books, go on the fucking wikis. Go read everything about the Second Age and then try not to look like an asshole when someone interviews you. I said this before, but watching the films that were made almost 20 years ago still feels fresh, and you feel moved by the music and the scenery and the acting. Ugh! Theoden's speech before charging Minas Tirith is one of the most metal things ever, and you can't change my mind. Those movies are classic.
Right now! Fight! Fight for ruin! And the world is dead!
Ah, chills. Literal chills.
Now the guys like No BS, they have let us make the show we want to make.
Don't clap.
This and the majority of this performance will be lucky to make it to the end of the year without being buried in criticism. They're not gonna be timeless at all. The timer already started. You're running out of time. The Rings of Power will come out on the 2nd of September, and I'm considering reading the Silmarillion and some of the unfinished tales just to shit as much as I can on this show. Although that would mean that I would have to watch the show, which I'm very reluctant about. Anyways, if you watch until this part of the video, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think this is going to be good? Do you think it's going to be another Resident Evil and it's gonna tank? And we're gonna have to wait years and years before any other sort of adaptation comes around? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, I hope you liked the video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.